I'm going to be recording and also an audience member.
The death penalty not only takes away a life or the person strapped to the table, it also takes away a little bit of humanity in each of us. This was said by Clint Smith. Based on my research, there's a rising number of innocent people being taken by the death penalty. Death is something irreversible. You cannot change after the fact that it's done. Today, America is telling us to stop murdering others, but Mississippi and our country are both doing something that we consider punishable. Today, I'm going to discuss with you the problems of the death penalty, offer solutions to help better Mississippi and America, and to persuade you to want to go against the death penalty. The death penalty is the easy way out. Like I said, death is irreversible, and our country, we're just being hypocrites. Justice is not being given. Most victim families don't feel like anything has changed and nothing between them being dead and them being in prison. There's no difference. I found this information on the Death Penalty Information Center. Innocent lives are also being taken. Since 1973, 190 innocent people have been wrongfully convicted and killed. On the Innocence Project, I found a story that really has struck with me. Cameron Willingham was convicted of triple homicide and arson. He came home one day to see that his house was on fire with his 3 girls inside. Then the firefighters had to restrain him because he was trying to go inside the house to save his children, but he was harming himself. It was later concluded that Cameron purposely set his house on fire, so he was sent to the death row, and 12 years later he was executed. A couple of days before his execution, his attorney never stopped fighting for him. He found another scientist to review the case, and that scientist told them that fire was caused by the space heater. His wife even testified to say that she left it on before she left the house that day. However, the government still went ahead with the execution. Then a couple of years later, they hired 3 more fire experts to review the case one more time, and it came out the same answer as the second scientist. It was done by the space heater. Now that it is said, the original investigators did not listen to evidence, and they merely just listened to gossip. We need more laws to govern our police officer when we are interrogating. In Burnett's book, he opens up about how police officers are allowed to lie, confuse the suspects, tell them they have evidence when they don't, and try to make deals with them. This makes the suspects feel like they have nothing they can do to go against them, and leads them to having to do a false confession. Lass's research tells me that most of the people on death row are from low-income life, and they could not afford the best lawyers. So they were given the state lawyers who did not care about what happened to them, and they just ended up being put on death row. There are alternate punishments that we can do, such as life without parole. Did you know it cost over $30 million to do one execution in Mississippi? And that money is coming from our taxes. The money is coming from your wallets. But it is cheaper to keep them in prison to do life without parole. Their life is over when they are in there. They are only allowed to think about what they have committed, and they don't have anything else. That is enough torture. I get it. It's a nice feeling knowing that the murderer, rapist, terrorist is dead, but it's only a nice feeling for that initial moment. Now, what is going to happen to them? They're still going to be in prison, even if they were with life without parole. What if it was your family member who died? How would you feel if they put the criminal on death row and he was executed? What has changed? Most criminals want to be put on death row. Do you want to give them that satisfaction? Instead, you could put them with life without parole, and all they could do is sit there and think about it. Because people on death row are allowed to have TVs, computers, they are allowed to have pets. They are living the most luxurious life for a criminal. But with life without parole, they would not be allowed to have that. What if it was one of your family members who has been wrongfully convicted of a crime and sentenced to death? How would you feel watching them strapped to the table, being injected by chemicals and then killed, when something could have done if we were to advocate for this not to happen. What we can do, we can start here in Mississippi. If one state starts banning death penalty, then it will trickle down to the whole country and the government will have to overturn it. When you become a juror member, don't talk about the death penalty. Advocate for life without parole or other options, because if it's not said within the juror, it probably won't be mentioned in court. We need to try to add more strict laws to our police officers on how they are able to interrogate suspects and how they cannot not use evidence. Today, I have discussed with you the problem of the death penalty, of innocent lives being taken, and police officers not doing what they're supposed to be doing. And I have persuaded you that Mississippi and the United States would be a better place without the death penalty. Do you want America to be known for capital murder? Do you want to scoop down to the criminal level? Are you okay with our country losing its humanity? Thank you.